Okay, I call this council meeting to order. City Clerk, let the record reflect that all council are present.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite everybody to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who starts current events? Do you remember?
I think it was.
Okay, we'll move on to the current events report. And are you ready, Mr. Williams? No. Okay, well, let me start with Mr. Biondo.
Yes. Let me run through a quick list. Went to Arizona Charter Academy at the invitation of the second grade class last week, I think, as a follow-up to their tour of City Hall. They were delightful as usual. I taped a council conversations program on public art, and that's currently airing also on the web. Yeah. I attended the National League of Cities conference at the Downtown Convention Center. A couple of interesting takeaways that I might mention. There was a session on governance and civil discourse that was very interesting. Also, a city in Florida which established a children's commission, and some of us, I think, are going to pursue that possibility sometime of discussing a children's commission. They initiated a literacy program for 4-year-olds, which is a wonderful program, could be used as a model. And also talked with a company called Peak Democracy, which sets up online public forums or open town halls. I understand Tempe is preparing to launch one of those, and Chandler and Gilbert are exploring the possibility of these online public forums. Also attended a PACE conference, Positive Action Through Civic Engagement seminar in Peoria. The theme was the convergence of business, education, and community. It's very stimulating. Among the speakers were Michael Crow from Arizona State University, Eddie Basha, Ernesto Calderon from the Board of Regents, Elva Kaur, who is one of the prime people with Sandra Day O'Connor House. So it was a very, very productive session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Villanueva.
Yes. Yes, attended the Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and we were entertained by the Peoria Theater group over there. And also attended the Community of All Ages, different projects that we have going, especially the market on Fridays on the last Friday of the month. And also the following meeting of that one was the community garden. And while we were there, they started installing the fence, and I understand it's completed, so the community garden is becoming a reality. So, and that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Alton.
Yes, thank you. In lieu of a report of what my activities have been, I would like to take a small moment to talk about Small Business Saturday. You probably have seen on television a tremendous effort on behalf of American Express, and that is advocating the payment or the procurement of holiday gifts from your local business person. It is so very important that we keep our businesses in Surprise successful. And one way to do that is to show how important it is to our community, and that is to purchase items for sale, not from a large chain store, but from a mom and pop, so to speak, or a small business that is located here in Surprise, to keep them vital and to keep them going. It's so very important. So there's a national effort on Small Business Saturday, and that happens to be November 26th. I encourage you all to take advantage of this, not advantage, but give it some thought as to what you might want to buy as a present, a holiday present for somebody that you would normally give to. But if you could think outside the box, so to speak, and as a restaurant or a movie theater or a business that is in place here in the city of Surprise that happens to be self-employed. I think it's so very important. Jim Biondo and I will be having our council coffee conversation on the first Tuesday of the month in December, but at the same time we are also hosting a we call town hall or whatever. It's an opportunity over in Cimarron, over in Sun City Grand, on the 10th. It's a Saturday. It's from 12 to 2, and it's an opportunity to hear from the residents, all residents. There'll be plenty of room, but if you want to come and talk, share your concerns with us, share your joys with us and how the city is performing, and also your desires as to what you would like to see the city do in the future. So please give it some thought as to coming to this meeting. I think it would be very worthwhile, and I invite all the council to be there. As what we like to do and accomplish, Jim and I, is to have a venue that we listen. We're not controlling the meeting. It is the citizens of Surprise that are going to be there so we can listen to them and hopefully give us some insight as to how to proceed in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I wanted to recognize a gentleman that I've been assisting in Sun Village. His name is Dave Barber, and he's been working with the Dysart School District, setting up an angel tree in Sun Village. And we have over 80 children on that tree, and I think there's only about 11 cards left that are being picked up by the Sun Village residents. So good job, Dave, and thanks everybody at Sun Village for the work they've done with these kids. We're going to have a party December 16th. Dysart School District is going to bring the kids to Sun Village. It's going to be from noon to 2. And I guess they got me dressing up as an elf. So we'll see how that goes. I attended the Relay for Life fundraiser at Big Buddha with Allison Klein. And I'll tell you what, if I want to get anything sold, I'm going to hire her. Man, she is something else. And that just exactly what Relay for Life needs is a person like Allison Klein. So good job. I attended the Chamber breakfast, which was very good. I went to the National League of Cities for 2 days. A couple of things that stood out to me was civic engagement through social networking. I wasn't real familiar. I'm not really a high-tech guy on social networking, but it's coming to the point where through Facebook and Twitter and all this, that we need to be aware of it, and it really brought home that we need a social networking policy in our city, Chris. And I guess we're working on it, but anyway, it's the other thing was the other seminar that really was very interesting was small business and entrepreneurship and how cities can help enable that. The mayor and I went to the Roadrunners Coffee ribbon cutting, which was really driven by Randy Miller and Dave Moss, the executive director of Chamber. We're at the Rosefield School, and those kids are 3rd to 6th graders that started this coffee business. And they worked out a business plan, they worked out a marketing plan, and talk about exciting. They were exciting kids, and the mayor bought the first pound of coffee from them, and it was really great to see the enthusiasm. I also attended the community garden meeting with Councilman Villanueva, and yes, the fence is done, and it's exciting. The next thing that's going to go up is the mural, and the mural right now is in pieces, and it's going to be transported to the wall. So it's a very exciting project that's going on over there, and Michelle Denicio and her group, and Vicki White, and Councilman Villanueva, Joe Kennedy from the Parks and Rec Department has contributed a lot. Donna Miller from Parks and Rec has contributed a lot. So it's been very enjoyable. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Mr. Woodard.
Councilman Hall's right that Allie is a great salesperson. He forgot to mention that she sold him on a council Relay for Life team. We will be, would you like to announce that?
The team's going to be called the Council Contenders. That's the name of it, because it's a boxing theme. So we're going to be the contenders, right, Mike?
That's right. And so all of the council members, city staff, although we're not going to direct you to do that. But, get your tennis shoes ready and get some pledges, and we will be getting our team up online. I'm sure Allie will help us do that. And anyone that out in the audience that would like to join us in our fight against cancer and creating more birthdays for more people, I would urge you to join in.
March 31st, right?
Actually, yes, it's March 31st and April 1st. So it's an overnight walk, and you have a team, so you don't have to do what I've done a couple of times, is just, walk until you can't lift your legs anymore. But yes, it'll be in March and April, so you've got lots of time. Also, earlier in the month, I attended the Mid-First Bank reception. It's the first time I'd been in that facility, and interior-wise, I don't think I've ever seen a more beautiful bank than that is. It was just gorgeous. On the 11th, I joined many of the other council members at the Firefighters Charities Pancake Breakfast out at Cimarron. A great morning, a great opportunity to talk with a lot of residents. And following that, some of us attended the very somber but yet very respectful Veterans Memorial Service that Sun City Grand held over in their outdoor amphitheater. It was just very moving. I think that's about it. There were a lot of other things, but those basically were the highlights.
Thank you, Mr.
The coffee for Districts 3 and 4 on December 10th, John and I will be canceling ours and joining in with the Councilman Alton and Biondo's open house, town hall.
Which is a wonderful segue. I want to thank all the people that came out last Saturday. And me and Mike have been doing this collaboratively for a couple years now, and with our Saturday morning monthly meetings. And we had about 12 people out there, and it was a good discussion. It was a good topic. A lot of items were thrown out there, and it's just kind of an open forum. There's no agenda. There's no topic. And I did appreciate the discussion. So everybody that attended, I appreciate it, and we'll continue to do these things into the new year. I want to congratulate the Willow Canyon Marching Band. They came in first place in their division in the state in their marching band competition. So congratulations to Willow Canyon. Also, congratulations to Mrs. Martorelli at Thompson Ranch. She was the Teacher of the Year. She's a reading intervention specialist at Thompson's Ranch Elementary School. So good things going on in the school district, and congratulations to Mrs. Martorelli and the Willow Canyon Marching Band. November 28th, I'll be meeting with a few residents to talk about child abuse prevention. It came up, just an email sparked from a woman this past week, and a lot of national attention to the subject. And so we're just going to be kind of having an open discussion on what are some potential possibilities within our community. What can we do to mitigate this issue? What are resources that are already out there? So I'm kind of opening this up to anyone. If you're interested in being part of that discussion, shoot me an email, call me. All my information is on the city website. And please, we're going to meet in my office on Monday at 4 o'clock. So anybody that wants to be a part of that discussion, I'm opening up my doors for that. November 29th, I want to thank city staff for organizing this. There's going to be a public input meeting in regards to a future agenda item that I brought forward regarding safe routes to school, crosswalks, sidewalks, connectivity in our city, safer walking pedestrian routes within our city. They're looking for public input. If you have concerns in certain segments of your area where you live in, particularly main arterials, that's the focus where speeds are in excess of 35 miles an hour. Please plan on attending the meeting. It'll be at the Dysart office, the main governing board room at 6 p.m. And city staff will be running that meeting looking for your input. So November 29th, 6 p.m. in the governing room. And then on December 1st is our tree lighting ceremony, and that's the kickoff to the surprise party. So I know CRS will probably want to talk about that, but I just want to encourage residents to come on out. It's a great thing. Thanks.
Thank you very much. In lieu of going over my previous month's activities, I'd like to talk about a very important issue. As many of you can see, I'm wearing a button that says Stop Diabetes. And I had the privilege of meeting a very special young woman, Ashley, and I'm not sure the pronunciation of the last name, if it's LaMountain. Is it? Okay, because I would have gone French with it. But Ashley is working on behalf of American Diabetes Association in this program. She's a sophomore at North Point Preparatory School. She's 15 years old, and she has been a resident of Surprise, I think, for 4 years, right? And you're a native of Arizona. And I know that you've told me you enjoy horseback riding, and you volunteer at a veterinarian's office. So you're very, very active, and you're an excellent student. Your mother told me that. And you're looking forward to attending U of A. So I'm inviting you to come forward, Ashley, and share for a few moments about this important cause and what we can do to make a difference.
Your Honor, Mayor Truitt, and distinguished members of the Surprise City Council, diabetes didn't care that I was only 4 years old. Diabetes didn't care that it was Halloween and that we had plans to attend a party. Diabetes didn't care that I was in kindergarten and my older sister was in first grade. And diabetes didn't care that my mom and dad were so worried and feared for my health. November is American Diabetes Month. I care that 25.8 million Americans have diabetes. I care that 79 million Americans have pre-diabetes. The mission of the American Diabetes Association is to prevent and cure diabetes and to improve the lives of all people affected by diabetes. Mayor Truitt and City Council members, thank you for caring and allowing me to speak to you tonight. I invite each of you to join the millions of others who care and join the movement to stop diabetes. Just to give you guys a little visual aid, this bear represents the number of finger pricks and shots a person has to do with diabetes in 1 month, and that's about 180 to 200. So imagine, being in someone's shoes who has diabetes, because, it's not fun at all. If any of you guys are affected by diabetes or have any questions, on the table out there, we left some pamphlets. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ashley. Ashley was in my office. Thank you. Ashley was in my office and actually gave me one of those bears, and it's just amazing the number of intrusions into the skin that a diabetic has to go through in just 30 days. Ashley is really, because she is a victim of diabetes, she's passionate about this. And for all of you in attendance, please pick up a brochure or a sticker or something that's out there on the table. And if you're so inclined during this holiday season, find a way to support the fight against diabetes and Ashley's cause. So thank you again, Ashley, for your great presentation. You did a good job. We're going to move to the city manager's report. Mr. City Manager, please.
Yep. Thanks, Mayor. Mayor, I have 3 different items. The first item, I'd like to maybe just head down real fast and invite a few people up to make a presentation and make a quick announcement, if that's all right. Thank you. Is this on? Yeah, thank you. If I could have Dr. Gail Pletnick from the Dysart Unified School District and Julie Rawls come up. Julie is with our Employee Appreciation Committee. One of the most important things that we always try and have as a city is an excellent relationship with our school district on many numerous levels. We also try and have an excellent relationship as an organization with our employees, and what we have here is a combination of both of those tonight. If you have an opportunity, if you haven't already, step into the main lobby of City Hall, and what you're going to see there at the base of the stairs is a rather impressive display, I commented on Ken, of a lot of different school resource items, pens, papers, notebooks, etc., that are going to be eventually here picked up on Monday by a lot of different kids over in the Dysart Unified School District. What our Employee Appreciation Committee went out there and did is an effort to help the needy children, the underprivileged children that are there in the district. They went out there and they had a project and they had an effort to go out there and to collect as many school supplies as they could for our children here in the Dysart Unified School District. And if I may, Mayor, just quickly go over a few statistics on what they were able to gather. It adds up to almost 500 pounds of school supplies. It was 275 pounds of paper, notebooks, and composition notebooks, 150 pounds of pens, pencils, colored pencils, and crayons, 30 pounds of folders, 15 pounds of Elmer's glue, 10 pounds of note cards, 10 pounds of scissors and erasers, and 34 individual paint sets and 33 pencil cases. These are all, through the efforts of our employees here, through the Employee Appreciation Committee, going out there, working hard, getting the donations and the solicitations from our employees, who all made these donations on their own, and is going to be presented over to the school district. Earlier, I met Dr. Pletnick over in front. We took a couple of pictures, and what you see there is a very small amount of what we've been able to collect. And I just want to let Dr. Pletnick know and the Dysart Unified School District know how much we appreciate everything that you do for our kids, here in the city of Surprise. You guys go through day in and day out, making sure that our kids are educated, that they're getting a great education, and going to become great members of society. So thank you very much, and on behalf of the Employee Appreciation Committee, on behalf of the city of Surprise and its employees, we want to present that donation over to you. So thank you very much for all you do.
Mayor Truitt, members of the council, city manager, and the employees of the city of Surprise. As a very proud and grateful superintendent, I want to thank you on behalf of all of the students and the families that are going to so benefit from all the supplies. I can just see it now. All those backpacks will be 10 pounds heavier on the way home after Monday, but they will be smiling as they walk with those backpacks. We were sharing a little earlier that at this time of year, oftentimes at the beginning of a school year, there are a lot of drives that happen and supplies for students. But now at that midway point, oftentimes that's not the case. Yet during this season, it really is often the greatest time of need for those supplies. So this is really a very generous contribution. This is often called the season of giving. In Surprise, what the employees have done shows that season of giving is also filled with a spirit of caring because of the contributions that the employees have made. So I certainly want to thank the Employee Association. I certainly want to thank the elected officials for supporting the ability for the employees to do this, and to the administration in the city. Thank you so much, and we appreciate the support that we receive, not only from all of you, but certainly from all of the members of the city of Surprise in this community. The district is so grateful for the kinds of contributions and support that we receive. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, I just want to extend my appreciation to the Employee Appreciation Committee. This was all done by them and their efforts. They did a great job. So thank you very much for all your efforts, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, do you have anything further to report? Two more items?
Two more quick items, Mayor. Thank you. And these are actually some good news on awards that we recently received. The first one actually comes from the police department. The police chief was asked to go speak at the Knights of Columbus meeting, and one of the most important connection points and touches that we have with our residents on a daily basis is through our public safety department. And as you know, the city of Surprise is considered one of the safest communities in the country, and it's through the efforts of all of our police department employees. And what was interesting, the chief said, is at the end of the meeting, after he had spoken, they actually came up with a special recognition, and there was a lot of comments that were made relative to how much they appreciated the service that they had received, from the Surprise Police Department. So much so that they wanted to make sure that they went out there and they gave the city a plaque, for all their efforts. What this says is this is presented to the City of Surprise Police Department for outstanding community service from the Knights of Columbus, the St. Clair City Council, 12851, November 2001. So I just want to express my appreciation to the police chief for all that he and his crews go out there and do every day, and night, going out there to help our residents be safe, secure, and providing a fantastic service to our community. So thank you very much, Chief. Okay, and Mayor, thank you again for the time. One last, actually national honor for the entire City of Surprise. You may recall that the city went out there and did a resident survey, and the results of those survey were significant in terms of what the residents thought of the City of Surprise. Each and every day we deal with our challenges and our problems, but the most important thing that we need to have at the end of the day is superb and top quality services for our residents. And through the results of this survey, the International City and County Management Association, ICMA, has awarded the City of Surprise with the Voice of the People Award for Excellence. If I may just read a quick summary here. Citing the survey results that place Surprise in the top tier when it comes to customer service, the International City County Management Association has awarded the Voice of the People Award for Excellence to the city. Only 10 communities nationwide receive this each and every year, just 10, and we're one of those 10. The high rating Surprise residents gave the city for service quality in the 2010 National Citizen Survey made the city eligible for the award. In addition to scoring in the top 10%, among more than 500 jurisdictions participating in the National Research Center surveys, Surprise scored in the top 3 for service quality.
Wow.
And so with that, and because of those survey results of how the residents, rated our services as a city, we now have received this award. And again, this is the ICMA. I'll go ahead and read this real fast. Leaders at the core of better communities. This Voice of the People Award of Excellence is presented to Surprise, Arizona in recognition of having the highest service ratings from its citizens, presented at the 97th ICMA Annual Conference, which was held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, just this past couple of months. So congratulations to the city, and congratulations to you as elected officials, and thank you very much to the residents. Thank you for putting your trust in us, and our commitment to you is to make sure that we continue to uphold the ratings that you're going to give us, that you gave us, and that you'll hopefully continue to give us in the future as we strive to work hard, to provide the services to you each day. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. Mayor, that's it.
Thank you. What a great report. We certainly appreciate both awards, and I know that they'll be proudly displayed in a prominent location in City Hall. So thank you to our residents, and thank you to our police department, and actually all of our great staff. So great job. Okay, we'll move on to the call to the public. If there's anybody from the public that would like to speak on any non-agendized item, this would be the time for them to do so. City Clerk, do we have anybody wishing to speak?
We have 2 speakers. The first one would be Jean Matherly.
I feel really strange after following all this good news by bringing all this up to you. Your Honor, Mayor Truitt, and esteemed members of the Council, without sounding like a victim, I want you to know the current status of the Medical Marijuana Act and how it pertains to me. 1 year ago, voters in Arizona approved a measure to provide medical marijuana to patients with certain illnesses. Patients were given a choice with respect to their application to grow it themselves or have a caregiver do it for them. This is not an easy or inexpensive task to accomplish, especially for a patient who is ill. According to the law, a designated caregiver can grow 12 plants for up to 5 patients, 6 if they're a patient themselves. This brings the total number of 72 plants per caregiver. Because of the unique treatment required to cultivate this amount of plants, it would be impossible for a caregiver to use a residential home due to the high demand of electricity required. The law states it is to be in an enclosed locked facility such as a closet, room, greenhouse, or other enclosed area equipped with locks. Each plant has a unique strain and is particularly designated to treat a specific illness. Each plant also has different stages of growth, such as clone, vegetating, and flowering. After harvest, the plant is cut down and is no longer of use except for the waste that is used for edibles, salves, and oils. The law was to include dispensaries, which would have been regulated and controlled. However, the governor has put that portion of the law on hold for who knows how long. After spending nearly $250,000 on design, lease departments, permits, lawyers, and rents, we are at a standstill. That being said, sick and infirm patients have no idea where to turn for their medicine except to return to the illicit underground or purchase from a Craigslist stranger. Since the program began in April, caregivers have been leasing warehouses all over the city in anticipation of supplying the dispensaries with medicine. With the program on hold, many cities are now allowing would-be dispensaries to become collectives. What this means is the collective have caregivers and patients who are willing and able to cultivate and then connect them with patients who are in need of medicine. These are a patient-to-patient exchange that is allowed by the law. Recently, we reviewed the Surprise Code for caregiver cultivation, have discovered that it states that a caregiver is limited to a 50-square-foot area, the same as a patient. This makes no sense unless you have one patient, and even that leaves only room for a maximum of 6 plants. Most caregivers have 6 patients and 72 plants that could not possibly fit into a 7-square-foot area. It takes at least 3 to 4 square feet per plant due to the canopy and aisles for rotating and servicing. At this time, we respectfully request that the code be amended to add a provision for cultivation which will allow patients and caregivers to grow their allowed medicine in one facility, collectively if they wish, thus expanding the 50-square-foot caregiver cultivation rule and to use the current planning and zoning requirements that were meant for dispensaries. We would also like to become a collective in the building that was designated as a dispensary, until which time the dispensary program is reinstated. No sales will occur on property, nor will any plants be visible to the public. The medicine is returned to a caregiver to disperse to their patients. We will only serve as a consultant to connect patients with other patients who have been registered with us. We will also serve as consultants for those who wish to set their own rooms at home. Your Honor, this is about compassion. It's about quality of life. Unfortunately, there are those that don't get it.
Thank you very much. I believe there's one more speaker.
That would be Ken Wright.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Something that's been on my mind for quite a while as a cave person is I'm not sure of the technical name of it, it's for the West Valley Mayors Get-Together. It's my understanding that those are closed meetings, that they're not open to the news media or the public. If that's true, I would like to get some consideration to open those up. I suppose that they go something beyond social meetings. I know there is one group letter that come out of there a little over a year ago, was a letter opposing the Glendale Casino. It was signed by most of the mayors that were in attendance. I think it was signed by everyone except the mayor of Avondale. She didn't sign because the council had not approved the content of the letter. But it's a little, you know, we run campaigns on transparency, we run them on accountability, and this is one area to me that is not very transparent. I think it should be transparent. I believe we should open that up to the news media and the public. I found out today there's another meeting that goes on, and a managers and council meeting, I think it is. I don't know if that's open to the public or not. I also don't know if subject one, the mayor's meeting, falls under the, if that would fall under the open meeting law or not. I don't think it's an official body, but I'm not sure. So I would ask that the council look into that to see if that does fall under the open meeting law. And I would especially recommend that the council take some action to open those meetings up. There's nothing that should be secret at those meetings. So I respectfully request that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers wishing to come forward?
No, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. That concludes call to public. We'll move to the consent agenda, which would be items 2 through 15. Council, is there anybody wishing to either pull or ask a question about anything on consent? Mr. Woodard.
I leaned forward, I guess. Yes, item 15, question for Mr. Coronado. I don't see a dog park on the material that was presented to us as backup. Is there a future plan for a dog park out there? Or I believe we do have a policy regarding dog parks, and so I just want some clarification.
Mr. Woodard, Mayor Truitt, the park was developed by the Asante Development Group, and at the time it was developed, there was not a dog park. So unless council would approve as a priority a dog park in the future CIP, the park is complete 100% with all its amenities and additions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, council, on any agenda item? If not, may I have an action?
Move to approve consent?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Move to approve consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Unanimous vote, Mayor.
Thank you very much. After the consent agenda has been approved, which it has, every item on consent from 2 to 15 has been approved. This is an opportune time for those who have come to speak on issues or to make presentations to be able to leave the meeting if they so desire. So thank you for those of you that have been here in attendance. We appreciate your presence here this evening. Okay, we're going to move on to the regular agenda items. Item number 16.
Consideration and action on ordinance 2011-13, an ordinance of the City of Surprise regarding whistleblower activities.
Thank you. Council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like to table this item till December 6th in a workshop environment. And one of the things that I would like to know in that workshop, Chris, is I would like to know, and I think some of the rest of us would like to know, line level staff input into this. Is that right, John? Is that,
yes.
Okay. And but there's a lot of other considerations. What are some of the options for employee reporting? I think we need to explore other options and in our discussions. So that's the reason I want to table it to the 6th of December workshop.
Mr. Hall, is that a motion to continue to December 6th workshop, item number 15?
Yes.
Or
16.
16, actually. Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor, say
Mayor.
aye. Aye.
Mayor.
Opposed? Abstained? Abstentions?
We have a speaker.
We have a speaker on item number 50. Thank you very much. We will
welcome.
entertain that speaker at this point.
That'd be Chet Jakoskis.
And Mr.
He's waving,
Dukakis
okay.
says that he will forego his opportunity. I believe we had a unanimous vote to continue to December 6th. Item number 17.
Discussion and possible action to approve the use of the Surprise Stadium for a rally in Surprise regarding the Arizona American water issue for one of the following dates, November 28th, 29th, 30th, or December 1st.
Thank you very much. This was an item that I put on the agenda. It's an issue that's very critical to the economic future of our city when Arizona Americans asking for almost an 84% water rate increase. I've talked with many of the leaders of larger HOAs, and they very much agree that it's appropriate to host a rally and to come out in really big numbers. So I wanted to bring it forward to this council. The one concern I heard expressed was that there would be some cleanup costs associated with such a rally. I think that's a manageable. I think that's a very manageable item. I'd like to check with Mr. Coronado to get an estimate on what those cleanup costs might be.
Mayor and members of the council, this is City Manager. It would be based on what you think the total attendance would be. Because, of course, if we're just taking care of a certain area and certain restrooms. So I'll work with the city manager's office to get that information. We'll come back, and then we'll get a budget. And all those dates are available. Just to let you know, the dates later in the month are city surprise party dates. But it doesn't mean we can't have it, jointly.
Thank you very much. And I believe that it would be appropriate to the council's already approved a certain dollar amount to support the intervener cause in this whole issue, and is to use the funds already approved by council to cover the cleanup costs. But we would certainly appreciate knowing approximately what they would be.
Again, I'll work with the city manager. We'll get you a price. Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Council, is there any further discussion or any discussion, and then we'll go to the public?
Well, we need to decide on a date, Mayor?
Yeah, actually we do.
Now, the 29th is that bike safety and sidewalk safety. I'd hate to interrupt that, because I think that's an important issue, and I was going to attend that. Maybe the 30th, which is that a Wednesday? That's a Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes. 30th is Wednesday.
No. I think that would be good. Or the 1st, but I just don't want the 29th.
Let's entertain the public's thoughts, and then we can come up with a specific date and time. I believe we have public that wants to speak on this item.
Yes, we have Gwen Weisner.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City Manager. My name's Gwen Weisner. I reside in Sun City Grand, and I'm here this evening to ask you to take action in support this rally for against the water company. I believe that it is imperative that all citizens of Surprise support this rally and let Arizona American Water know that we are not going to stand by idly and let them do this raise. I call on all citizens of Surprise and residents in the Agua Fria Water District to support this action, attend the rally, and be proactive in our fight. I also feel we should explore the possibility of obtaining transportation, maybe buses or carpooling, for all interested parties to attend the scheduled meeting to be held at the Arizona Corporation Commission sometime in January of next year. I don't believe we know an exact date when these meetings are going to be held. I believe that by showing up at the meeting in large numbers, we will make a statement to the Corporation Commission that we stand united against this travesty. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak?
Mitzi Mills.
Looking at the calendar on...
excuse me, we have somebody from
public. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's see.
That's okay, because Gwen pretty well said it, probably the best it could be said. Good evening, Council, Mayor. city manager and city attorney. First of all, I want to thank you for the support that you've thrown towards fighting the battle against Arizona American Water. And we, now that we've joined forces, I think that we are going to make an impact in that. We think the rally from the intervener group of the HOAs is such an important part of this, is to draw people together, to draw the awareness, too, that this is just not just an HOA issue, but a citywide issue. I talked about that last month, that even if you're not in the Agua Fria district, it is going to affect you somehow, either through your schools, where you do business, what businesses come here, who moves here in the future. I do have a couple of concerns if we do the rally, is how we get the word out. We have a really small window of opportunity there, and I think we're really going to have to join forces in that, as well as if cleaning of the stadium or cleaning of the area around there is a concern, we certainly can rally some volunteers to do that as well. The timing of the rally is very important because in the second week of December the hearings start, and some information that Gwen doesn't have yet because I haven't sent out my blast email is we are going to be taking reservations for buses to go down to that. There's about 10 days that that's going to take place in the middle of December, and so it would be an opportunity at that rally to also get people involved in the buses down to there. The other thing is, like I said, the advertising, how we're going to let people know what's happening, and how we're going to let the Arizona Corporation Commission know it's happening. And I also would like us to encourage people from other areas outside of Surprise to come, or at least to be knowledgeable of this, because remember, our Arizona Corporation Commission is elected by people across the state, not just in Surprise. And just by not getting the Surprise vote is not going to make a big impact on these people, as it will for them to know that we're letting everyone be on notice that they consider raises that are outrageous for the public. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And actually, Mitzi, if you don't mind, if you'd stay at the podium just a second. Mitzi has really led the charge from Sun City Grand across the communities to, first of all, to get the attorneys Ekmark and Ekmark involved and so forth. And what I think this rally would probably be some of the interveners and the experts just giving an explanation to our residents or to those who attend what's going on, where we're at, and then sharing with them what they can do in terms of getting on a bus to go down to the meeting, and just talking about what the next steps would be. I'm guessing that this would probably be probably not much more than an hour.
I would think that after an hour, they're going to be bored hearing about water. We better let them go if we want to keep them involved.
Okay, and did you have a suggested time?
Time, a date or time?
Evening, both.
My suggested date, I have to go along with Councilman. I was going to call you Skip. I'm going to call you Skip. Okay, I'm going to go along with Skip because I don't want to bypass that meeting. That meeting is such an important meeting about bicycles and crosswalks. I think we'll lose a lot of the residents that have children in school to that meeting, and those are the people now that we really need to get out as well. So I'm thinking Wednesday or Thursday, and probably early evening, just because it's still a school night for some people, but not so early that people aren't home from work yet. So, I mean, I didn't give you a definitive answer, but think of those things, because that's when in the past I've had problems getting people to a meeting. You hold a meeting at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. We miss the people that work downtown Phoenix and are driving back to Surprise.
That's great. Thank you for that input.
Thanks.
And that's sort of what I was thinking, is maybe at 7 o'clock, and if they know it's just going to be a 1-hour meeting, and that would help them be able to budget their family time. And then perhaps on Wednesday evening, I don't know if there's any other city events.
Yes, there is. My calendar is showing a 10th annual surprise party activity at the city park on Wednesday.
At 7 p.m.?
I can't guarantee that the time frame is right because
Mr. Coronado, can you address that, please?
That activity is, we have a visitor from the North Pole who will be visiting the campus at 7 o'clock, and advance tickets are required because he needs his rest. So he'll actually have 300 families in the area at that time, but that'll be the only activity that night in the merchandise store.
That's an important activity.
Let you know that, yes.
So thank you. Any awareness on the next day?
The first looks clean.
First looks good.
The first, okay. Mr. Alton, you asked to speak?
Yes, I did. I was sitting here listening to this item being discussed, and I was wondering what the full intent of it was going to be, and I thank you guys for sharing with us as, the hour, time length, and so forth. I have to think that there's going to be some additional costs. With the police, I believe the police are going to need to be involved on security and traffic. So I don't know if that is something that we have to pay for outside of their special duties or their regular duties or not. So I'd be interested in knowing that. Trash, certainly. And I was hoping to hear a little bit as to how we're going to get the word out and so forth. I hate to vote on something that I don't know all the particulars to, number one. Number two is what the total costs are going to be. So I don't know if anybody has got a kind of a handle on a very good approximate dollar amount that the city may be looking at.
Mayor, if I may, what we probably are going to come up with a staff of some sort of, as Mark said, I think it's a good point. It all depends on how many people show up. So we'll probably be able to come up with some sort of graduated scale. If X number of people show up, we'd estimate these costs, et cetera. So.
Right, and worst case scenario is, as I've already mentioned, we've already designated a set-aside amount, but I've heard that there could be volunteers that would assist with a lot of things. So those are details that can be worked out. This is, we've talked about this in the past. I've talked about it, and it is a bit of an 11th hour issue, but that's because the timing is that which is the most strategic for those who are intervening in this case to make sure that Arizona American's request is denied. And so that's why it's sort of last-minute timing, and that's why we have to be a little bit open in terms of accommodating this particular event if we indeed care about what happens at the Arizona Corporation Commission when the hearings start. Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, to Councilman Alton's point, how do we promote it? And what can we do as a city to make sure that that happens?
If the council decides to act tonight that this is a city event that wants to move forward, it would have the full resources of the communications department. We'd tweet it, we'd Facebook it, we'd put it on the website, we'd send out press releases. We would do everything that we would usually do for an event this size. We'd go out there, and you have the full resources of the communications department. It is a bit of a, it's a quick turnaround in terms of time, but at least we can get the word out there.
What about
we'd have Ken working on it.
What about the electronic sign out on Bell, too?
Yeah, sure. I'd leave the strategies up to Ken. He's definitely the expert, but that could definitely be something that we could probably work on. I can't see Mark very well over there, but
additionally, this is really a true partnership with the HOAs and the management companies and the attorney, and all of them have their databases. Mitzi mentioned her email blast. We intend to enlist all of those folks to help us get the word out, to make a major statement with this rally. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. And just looking at this, just an idea, throwing it out there, what if we held it on December 6th? We have a workshop that evening. To Council Member Alton's concerns, we could have a report in terms of what the cost would be. We could also have an extended time period to advertise, and then you could also utilize the surprise party as a means to advertise to a lot of the families that are going to get impacted. But just a thought in terms of the timing, it's still we're in a time crunch in terms of when you want to do this, but just a thought in terms of maximizing turnout.
Are you suggesting doing this on December 6th in lieu of the workshop?
No, I would say have the workshop, and then we all get in our cars and drive over there at 7 o'clock.
Right. That really sounds like a pretty good suggestion. It conflicts a little bit with the recommended dates for the attorney, because my understanding is that the Arizona Corporation Commission will begin taking depositions on the 5th of December. And so you're talking about 2 days after they've heard it. But council, I'd be open to that suggestion, because we could meet at 6 and then make sure that we're over there at 7, and I think maybe that'll give us just one more week of getting the word out.
Yeah.
anybody see any problem with that, either from the public or from council?
How many days are they deliberating on this?
Well, I think they're going to, I think it could be up to
10 days?
2 weeks.
So we would have this rally the third day in that.
It's not bad.
I don't think it's bad.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad either. It's a good, it seems like a good suggestion because we're already going to be here, and it gives us no more time. Is that a motion?
Is that a motion, John?
Motion to hold the rally 7 o'clock, December 6th. That's the.
And is that, it's good with Mr. Coronado? We have a motion and we have a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch a second.
Aye.
Thank you.
Please cast your vote.
Unanimous yes vote, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that good recommendation. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go on to item number 18.
Consideration and action on Resolution 2011-143, amending the fiscal year 2012 budget and authorizing the transfer for up to $50,000 from the tourism bed tax contingency to the sports village concept and possible expansion of existing recreation facilities.
I think I'm personally very excited about this particular item. I think it's a great, again, another great partnership and a great concept and a perfect utilization of the money that's available to the tourism committee. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Coronado for a presentation, unless you're going to.
Well, I think we want to table this because I think we need some more input, and I think some people on the council are uncomfortable. They just need more information. Yeah. That's it. And I'm excited about the concept, too. It's not that. It's just that I thought we ought to table it to a workshop on December 6th so that we can really ask questions in a workshop environment, maybe get the tourism board president here and the Parks and Rec president of the board, chairman, and talk about this a little more. And okay, so that's my motion. I move to continue this to December 6th workshop.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second.
May we have some discussion about it?
Yes, we will. Mr. City Attorney, you're requesting to be recognized. Okay. We have a motion. Second, we're going to go to the public. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item? Hearing no one, we will go to Mr. Woodard first.
Actually, I'll yield to Councilman Biondo.
Mr. Biondo.
Thank you. It truly is, Mayor, as you indicated, the sports village is truly an exciting component, but to my mind, it's one component. It's not the entirety, and I would prefer, and I think it would be helpful for the public to see when the presentation is made, that it be made in its comprehensive configuration, that the sports village is one part of the town center. There's an entertainment district part of the town center. There's other things as part of that town center. And I think to just see it in isolation gives a false impression, and I emphasize the word false impression, that we're just trying to expand recreation facilities again. But if it's seen in its totality of the town center, then I think it will help obviate that misperception. I would also like to see if staff would be willing to present in that overall configuration, bring us information on how much conceptual work has been done on the overall plan, what conceptual work additionally, if that's necessary, can our internal planners do, what additional dollars will be needed for the conceptual planning beyond this $50,000 for the Sports Village segment, what will be the source of those dollars. And I know there's a particular source with the bed tax in the tourism committee coming specifically from that bed tax and earmarked for that tourism purpose. And lastly, I was a little uncomfortable, and I don't want to get into semantics here, but I was a little uncomfortable in reading the item on the agenda that it says, and possible expansion of existing recreational facilities. What are we talking about? Have some decisions been made about expanding additional recreational facilities beyond the concept of the sports village? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Nobody from the public. We have a motion and a second to continue, to continue this to December 6th. Workshop. Please cast your vote. Mr. Villanueva?
Yes, to expand to the 6th, is there going to be enough time, but what Jim was talking about? Or is it going to be strictly on the sports facility?
I'm looking at the back towards Assistant City Manager Mihalik, our Economic Development Director as well. He's saying January, if that would be acceptable.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that was enough time to really prepare for such an item, and it doesn't appear that it would be. So if I can get the motion maker to amend the motion to table this item, and then it can be brought back off, put back on the table at some later date, and then the seconder to agree to the new motion.
Okay, I move to table this item to a future date, undetermined at this point, until staff comes back to us.
Second.
Second agrees.
Okay, we have a new motion and a second. All in favor, well, please cast your vote.
Unanimous vote, Mayor.
Thank you. Item 19, if you will.
This item is consideration and action to approve the following city board appointments. And I don't know, Vice Mayor, would you like to just take it from here on the announcements?
Yes. Thank you, Sherry. We interviewed people, and we had 3 outstanding candidates. First of all, Allison Klein. Would you please stand up, Allison? We recommended her to go on the Disability Advisory Commission, and her background is extensive in all kinds of things, and she's a mover and shaker in this town, and she'll be outstanding on that commission. Also, we have Tony Segura. We're recommending for Quality of Life Commission. Both Allison and Tony's expiration would be July 1st, 2015. Tony comes to us with a lot of background. He used to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission. He's been around the city forever, probably 25 years. And he's vice president of an HOA, and he's very involved. And also the third one is Mean Lam, who is the general manager of the Hayashi Grill, and he would fill in the restaurant vacancy that we have on the tourism board, and we recommend him highly. He runs a great restaurant, and he's passionate about the hospitality business. I think he'll add a lot of value to the tourism board. So those are our 3 recommendations.
There's another one on
Oh, there's one more.
Oh, and Dennis Alton. That's right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip him. Dennis, is Dennis here?
No.
No? Okay. Dennis is on the we recommended him for the Quality of Life Commission also. His term will go through July 1st of 2013. And Dennis has all kinds of experience with the city. He used to work in the police department and human resources, I believe. And just really a super guy. We're fortunate that he applied for this commission vacancy. So I'm sorry I skipped Dennis. Hope he accepts my apology. Anyway, those are the 4 recommendations. And
Mr. Alton, you had something to say?
I do. Thank you. City Attorney, should I recuse myself from this vote, or at least a portion of the vote, as it is my brother that has been recommended?
Mayor and Council and Councilmember, If you believe that there is a proprietary interest that will be impacted, then yes. If there is not, then you would not be required to do so.
I would like to take the stand on caution, okay? And not knowing either way, I do want to recuse myself from this vote.
Okay, thank you. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Then may I have an action?
I move to approve appointments as follows. Allison Klein for the Disability Advisory Commission. Term expires July 1st, 2015. Antonio Segarra, Quality of Life Commission. Term expiration July 1st, 2015. Dennis Alton, Quality of Life Commission. Term expiration July 1st, 2013. Mean Lamb Tourism Board restaurant representative, term expiration July 1st, 2015.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Six yes vote, one abstained. Alton.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to you folks that have agreed to participate in and by volunteering here in the community. We appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it much. Now, Sherry, you'll swear them in before the next meeting so they can participate in the next meeting? Okay.
Yes, they can actually, we'll make an appointment to come to my office, swear you in, and then I'll do the ceremonial swearing in at the next board meeting.
Okay, super.
All right, let's move to item number 20.
Consideration and action to approve resolution number 2011-136. This is declaring and adopting the results of the general election held on November 8th, 2011, and ordering the recording of such resolution.
Thank you. Do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak? Seeing no one, council, have an action, please.
I move to approve resolution number 2011-136, a resolution of the mayor and the council of the city of Surprise, Maricopa County, Arizona, declaring and adopting the results of the general election held on November 8th, 2011, and ordering the recording of such resolution.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
I'm missing Vice Mayor Hall. Thank you. Unanimous yes vote, Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 21, consideration and action to approve the 2012 City of Surprise Speaker Series. Mr. Biondo and Mr. Hall asked for this to be on the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank Vice Mayor Hall and Councilman Villanueva for their support in getting this on the agenda. This is a proposal to implement a pilot program called the City of Surprise Speaker Series. I didn't bring it to a work session first because this may be a rare instance in which it has no budget implications and virtually no staff time required because I'll be willing to coordinate it through a steering committee. The possible programs, and I'll walk you through 6 quick slides. Possible programs would relate to the past, the present, the future. I'll give you some examples. It's not intended to be an historical series, not intended just to be an art series, not just a business series, not just a current event series, but topics which over the course of time, which probably would tap into just about all those areas. The Chamber of Commerce has graciously agreed to serve as sponsor, which means they'll pick up any of the costs for any honoraria which we might offer to speakers. And then also in conjunction with our Arts and Cultural Advisory Board, the West Valley Arts Council, and the Surprise Historical Society. I've met with each of these people individually, and they're extremely supportive of bringing the program forward. It's envisioned as a series of 1-hour programs monthly, which relate to the history, the present, and the future of Surprise, and as well as some aspects of the West Valley. We envision it as being open to the public, no charge for admission. The steering committee consists of 3 council members, 1 city staff member, and 1 representative from each of the following groups, and they've agreed to serve on the steering committee as well. Possible locations, we've talked about 2 possibilities, haven't made a decision yet. I thought we'd discuss that within the steering committee, possibly here in council chambers, or I talked with Todd Aukus, and he would make the community room available to us if we wish to do that. Dates and times, obviously we see it as an evening program, so we can maximize the possibility for people attending. The annual budget, as I mentioned earlier, just as a gesture of appreciation more than anything else, we thought we might be able to offer an honorarium of $100 for an individual speaker to express our gratitude for that person's time, and then we'd make some decision about whether to have light refreshments pre or post. These are possible topics, and I want to emphasize the word possible because we're not locked into any of these. We've not discussed any of these as being final possibilities, but just tried to think arbitrarily in terms of what kinds of topics are out there that might be of interest to the community as a whole. And these are just some examples. Let me use the second example, Surprise 2025, as an example. At council, for example, as well as the public, we've seen pieces and major pieces of the villages, some streetscapes. Wouldn't it be wonderful if somehow that could be put together in some sort of continuum so that we could show the public this is really how the city's going to look in 2025 as an arbitrary date. I've talked with Dave Moss about putting together an education business panel for one of the programs. What does business expect of education? What does education expect of business? Which could be a very productive kind of discussion. The Congressional Medal of Honor winners in Arizona is there because you know we have one Congressional Medal of Honor winner from Surprise. So that might be overall a wonderful topic to deal with. The future through the eyes of youth, trying to get a youth component within the speaker series, and so on. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this? Seeing no one?
No, Mayor.
I'll give you a chance to go back. Council, may I have an action?
I move to approve the 2012 City of Surprise Speaker Series.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote.
Unanimous vote, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move to item number 22.
Direction on the use of a decorative angled street light pole underneath the 230 kV power line along the south side of Bell Road.
Mayor, members of the council, this item was brought forth the last work session. It's to approve the style of street light that we discussed. Council requests that we send the locations of where they're currently in use. I did that shortly after the meeting. I think it was the next day. The cost was already described. There will be no additional cost. There's no contract that needs to be changed, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. One of the questions I had for Mr. Mihalik was if P&Z had gone over this item, and they hadn't, but Mr. Mihalik shared with me how important it was to let the residents of Coyote Lakes who had already been kind of told that there were going to be a certain style of street light out in front of their community on Bell Road, and to be able to explain why it's necessary to make an adjustment in the style of lighting. And so I think that's we're now on record, and that's a very good reason in and of itself to have the workshop and to bring this item forward for the public. Is there anybody wishing to speak on this?
No, Mayor.
Okay. May I have an action, Council?
I move to approve the use of decorative angled street light pole along Bell Road.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Thank you. Unanimous yes vote.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll move on to the next item.
Consideration and action on Resolution 2011-107, an IGA with Arizona Department of Transportation for the pavement of dirt roads located west of 219th Avenue and north of Deer Valley Road.
Mayor's members of the council, this item was also discussed at the previous work session. This is for an amendment that allows more federal funding coming in and less city funds. The item was discussed at the previous work session with the details and the costs. It did pass the Transportation Board last Friday, so it's a matter of passing the IGA here, the amendment, and then work is expected to start after the new year.
Thank you. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this?
No, Mayor.
Council may have an action.
Consideration and action on Resolution 2011-107, an intergovernmental agreement, IGA, with Arizona Department of Transportation, ADOT, for the payment of dirt roads located west of 219 Avenue and north of Deer Valley Road.
I have a motion.
Second.
And I have a second. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote.
Still asleep.
Unanimous vote, Mayor.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've lost my place. 24, consideration and action on COS 12-007, a contract with MGC Contractors to construct 13 new Bedostone recharge wells at the South Plant Water Reclamation Facility in an amount not to exceed $2,330,000.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Last week at the workshop session, we talked about the general parameters about this contract. But since that time, we have I received an inquiry from Councilman Williams that have brought up a lot of points that I think has a lot of value in explaining. You know, we're proposing here to spend over $2.3 million. And I think a little more background is very much in order. So I have just a short presentation to just go over some of those. How did we get here? What's the purpose of this? And what's the benefit to the city?
Mr. Beckley, before you speak, before you go on.
Yes.
We're getting some new information right now, and I think we need to have some opportunity to mull it over, to decipher it and so forth. Is there any urgency on this? Like, is it time sensitive that we approve or disapprove this item? I mean, are we going to be fined by the water people for the state if we don't do this right away?
There's a period of time that we have to award the bid, and I have to verify that number. Typically, that's a 90-day period, and I believe that we're within that, provided that we award that in December.
So there is an urgency.
Yes, in a sense.
And the urgency is that part of this is grant money?
Yes, it is. That's not part of the urgency, but that is portion of the funding is roughly $900,000.
What is the urgency?
The bid hold period. We went out for...
So you went to bid before we decided to do this, right?
Yes, through the bid process, the procurement process.
Which is non-binding.
That's correct. There's always the right of council to reject the bids. That's always the case.
Yeah, we can certainly listen to what you have, and hopefully you have some material that you can send with us, so we can have an opportunity to digest it as well.
So you're not requesting this to be workshop?
Well, if there's more additional information, it probably should then go through a workshop.
Well, can we hear what the information is and decide from there whether it's too deep for us to handle right now or what?
I think probably an important component would be the difference in cost. Can you share that with us? What's the difference? What's the cost adjustment?
There is no changes to the action.
Okay, so
I'm just providing additional information and background So there's no changes in
Okay.
what I presented to you last week.
Good. Good. I think that clarifies a lot for us. It sounded like there was this was a different program now, but it's not changed at all. No. Mr. Williams had a question, and you're going to publicly answer that question.
That's correct.
Thank you. If you will.
Thank you. What I'd like to talk about is why we're doing what we're proposing to do tonight. The effective use of reclaimed water is a key strategy in the area of water resource management. This is, if you look at the grand scale of things, this is a sustainable project as we have done in the city. Our strategy in water resource management is to, and that has been identified in the Integrated Water Master Plan, a large study that was commissioned by the city, completed over a 2-year period, described a series of initiatives that the city should consider. This is one of those initiatives. The other initiatives that were outlined for reclaimed water were really talking about how to, what is the most effective use of reclaimed water. There's 4 options. The first is to master plan dual distribution systems within the city to serve our largest customers. So that involves looking at either through the new development process or existing users, such as we're doing some of the larger subdivision, Veramonte, Litchfield Manor. Those are examples where we've identified large common green space areas that we've extended the reclaimed water system. That helps to best utilize that reclaimed water system. In addition, to identify the potential to serve and maximize the use of water reuse demands. Perhaps there's an industrial customer that comes in that may be able to utilize reclaimed water in lieu of potable water. That is another strategy that we will employ when and if that opportunity provides itself. This third item, and that's what we're talking about with the action item tonight, is to develop city-owned recharge capacity for excess reclaimed water. That's done by 4 technologies. The first is a spreading basin. If most of you that have been out at the South Water Reclamation Facility have noticed large basins, those are referred to as spreading basins. They slowly leach the water and percolate through the ground into the aquifer, and that's one technology. There is a loss of evaporation that occurs when that process is used. The Vados zone wells, of what we're talking about tonight, is a process where the reclaimed water is injected back into the aquifer at a moderate level, and then that is a quicker and a more efficient way of moving the effluent, moving the reclaimed water into the aquifer. And then finally pursue groundwater savings facility permits, such as we were considering probably 3 years ago with the G Farms and St. Lucia, south of Peoria. Currently, a portion of our effluent, the excess portion, goes through our system, reaches Peoria Ave, and then discharges over the farm by gravity, or actually a slow discharge, a turnout. At one time we looked at is there a groundwater savings facility potential for that facility. If you have a permanent owner and it's a long-term agreement, there's capital costs that have to be expended in order to receive the benefits. The benefits are this, that if you get into this long-term facility permit, you are able to deduct the use of that water off your replenishment credits. So it helps us in terms of showing and having legitimate disposal purposes, not disposal, but reuse purposes of reclaimed water. So we looked at that. Because that's not a long-term situation, we began to focus internal. And that's where the spreading basins and Vados zone wells are the most effective means. Both were validated in our Integrated Water Master Plan as being the best technology when space is of an issue. And then secondly, from a cost basis, this is the most economical way to handle the recharge. So in this case, 5 wells were put in 2010 at the facility. The ultimate plan was to install up to 25 over the next 15 years. So we're reaching the second threshold where the intent is to install 10 additional wells. Now what those wells will do is close the gap for the amount of water that is just discharged through the city where we get no benefit whatsoever on. And it doesn't come off of the city's replenishment credits. So in this case, what will happen is there's 5 benefits here that will be realized by this project. First, it will provide the city with the ability to dispose of all the wastewater coming from the plant. Currently, if for some reason an ownership changes south of Peoria and they restrict our discharge, we don't have an option. There is no secondary discharge point. So that leaves us in a vulnerable condition. So to address that point, this will take care of all of that excess capacity and discharge it in the ground, and will be totally self-contained within the facility. Secondly, it will increase the amount of groundwater credits that we'll generate, which reduces our future replenishment costs. In the area of $400,000 a year that we currently are spending to the replenishment district in order to make up that deficit. We have to pay the replenishment district for that shortfall that we're not able to. In other words, the shortfall is how much we're withdrawing from the ground and then how much we're recharging back into the ground or reusing in some form or another that it's approved by the state. The third benefit is to use the number of wells that we have in an operational rotation so as to lengthen the life of these wells. These wells are, the lifespan is anywhere from 8 to 15 years. We think we can approach the 15-year and perhaps even further if we're able to use a rotation. Fourth point is to better handle the periodic storm flows. The wastewater plant is designed to handle a certain treatment capacity. When that excess is breached, then there has to be, we just have to store it in other locations or discharge more, south of Peoria Ave. So this will give us that additional capacity to better manage those peaks. And then finally, provide some additional capacity for future growth. So as a result of master planning efforts, study efforts that have been going on each year, we internally, with finance, sat down and looked at all of our CIP program for the next 4 years. That was a year and a half ago. And we looked at reconsidering that growth is not coming back, in the immediate future. What can we push off? Because a lot of our improvements to our CIP program in the enterprise fund was as a result of anticipated growth. We moved a lot out. We eliminated a lot. This was one project we didn't move because it had a benefit to it. It has an operational capital benefit that will save us in the area of $300,000 to $400,000 a year once all these wells are in place and operational. Beyond the fact of giving us more control over the operation in total as far as discharge liability. So the other point is that was raised is the plant, there's a perception that there's a lot of treatment capacity at that plant. In certain respects, there are. That's a fair statement. In terms of the amount of water that we can treat, it's about 16 MGD a day. But we don't have that ability to discharge 16 MGD a day. We thought over time we would add the settling basins or the groundwater, the Vado zone wells to match as development occurs. So where we're at right now is trying to catch up with the treatment, not the treatment, the recharge component of our operation to be able to produce 6 MGD a day. So our volume capacity is really at the weakest link. The weakest link is the amount that we have the ability to discharge or to inject into the ground. So with this improvement, we will bring that total up from 5, which is roughly 1.5 MGD deficient from our total needs, to what will meet our current operational needs today and in the next 4 to 5 years that we anticipate. And again, as I mentioned, the replenishment deficit as we currently are experiencing from this current calendar year is $424,000 a year. And that's what we're looking to avoid. We'll be able to, once these wells are online and operational, we will no longer have to pay that replenishment cost to an outside agency because we're able to inject that into the ground ourselves and then get credit through the appropriate state agency. The other issue is impact to rates. You know, it's a significant charge. This charge is, if you look at it as a disposal option, it's a sewer charge. It doesn't affect the water revenues or the water expenditures. It only helps the water expenditures. Water resource management, the replenishment credits, are a function or a cost to the water fund or the water rates. As it relates to the sewer is going to, has anticipated this cost for our last rate analysis, and no increase to sewer rates are anticipated as a result of this expenditure. It's already built in to the model, if you will. So that's the background. I thought it was really skimmed over the last week's presentation. And I wanted to provide this to you just to give you the background and to give our constituents the background so that they understand, you know, the reason for it, the benefits, and also how this will not impact future rates in the sewer fund.
Thank you. Mr. Alton.
Thank you, Mr. Beckley. And what I heard among all the other things that you said, one of the items that I picked up on is that we are producing, we're recharging more water than we have a place to put it. It's okay.
We don't have the recharge capability right now,
right.
And this is going to increase that capability.
Okay. I would like to suggest is that we have a workshop, another one, and talk about the whole water system, both from bringing it in for use, recharging it, so forth, so we can get a better handle on what the whole picture looks like. We talk about all the wells, we talk about all the wastewater treatment plants that we have. We get a very good handle on the whole picture rather than just a very small portion of it, which is costing in excess of $2 million. That being said, I make a motion that we table this until January and have a good-sized workshop talking about our entire water distribution system as well as the wastewater distribution system.
I neglected to go to the public. I don't have anybody from public wishing to speak on this, right?
No, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Mr. Alton has made a motion to continue this to a January workshop. Does he get a second?
I'll second it, just strictly for discussion purposes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Let's see, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I appreciate your presentation. Thank you, Bob, and thank you to staff that provided me the information that I asked. My real concern was the water rates and or the sewer rates and how did that impact, because those are citywide rates. So brought in clarification. I better understand in terms of the recharge. And I apologize, and I appreciate council's patience and everyone else because this was a workshop item. But as I looked over it over the weekend, I sent Bob an email Sunday night, and he answered all my questions. But in terms of the workshop, I think that's a healthy thing to do in terms of a bigger picture and you know, installing 25 wells over a 15-year period, and those are things that aren't crystallized in my brain. So I appreciate that. I would say that this item then becomes routine business when we have a better understanding, or at least when I have a better understanding. So I would approve this now based on that information, but requiring that that general discussion. So I don't know if there, I mean, based on what Director Beckley has mentioned before, there might be some issues in terms of not approving it, but I do appreciate the motion in terms of a bigger picture perspective.
I would recommend that when that workshop takes place, that there would be some discussion about our CAP allotment and the delivery system or lack thereof to bring that allotment into Surprise. Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Bob, for that presentation. I too think the overall workshop would be beneficial, but I've got a pretty clear picture of what this action is. I mean, it's costing the city about $2.7 million.
Yes, of which 900,000 is paid from by the Bureau of Reclamation.
Oh, okay. I thought it was $3.5 million and 980 was. So I thought our net cost was 2,680, something like that.
2,680. That's correct.
Okay, and we're going to be saving over $400,000 a year. That's a pretty good return on investment.
Yes.
That's over 15%. So just this action, I don't know if I want to table this action. I agree with Councilman Alton that an overall plan presentation I think is good, but regarding this action, I'm comfortable with it. You know,
I am too. But we do need, as Councilman Alton said, overall picture of everything.
Sounds like there's consensus on a workshop for sure. Let's go ahead and take everybody's comment. Mr. Woodard, you're up.
Okay. I want to understand, there is a deadline on this for December, did you say?
I do not want to, thinking about that, I'm sure that there's an ability to push that. I think if we go much past mid-January, I think we may run into some problems. I don't want to throw out an artificial deadline out there. So as far as the sense of urgency, it's just a matter of getting the project started in a timely fashion.
Okay.
Yes, I pretty much agree with some of the comments that were made. I think what Councilman Alton was saying is really critical for the long term, to see that overall comprehensive picture of what's out there so that we all understand that better. But by virtue of what Mr. Beckley is saying, even though urgency may not be the right word, but certainly it appears to be a timely kind of issue. So rather than have this just set for however long, 60 days, 90 days, whatever, I would have no problem taking action on this one specific item, but then with the clear understanding that there would be that overall picture.
Thank you. Currently, we have a motion and a second for purpose of discussion. Does the motioner care to re-motion, or do you want to stick with the motion before us?
I would like to stick with the motion that's before us.
Okay, the motion is to continue this item in its entirety until a workshop can take place in January. Is that correct?
Correct.
And we have the second on it. Do we still have the second?
I'd like to withdraw my second.
Is there a second on this motion? If not, hearing none, I'll entertain a new motion.
Okay, I move to approve COS number 12-007 and associated resolution 2011-142.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mayor, we still have that master plan discussion come back to council at some point.
If I could, just on that comment.
Got to go to item number 30, future agendas and workshops. Thank you. Please cast your vote.
Six yes vote, one no vote. Alton?
Thank you very much. And when you're ready, go ahead and read the next item, item 25. I'm assuming that no presentation will be necessary based on the previous presentation. If you'll read that for us, please.
Consideration and action on change order 1 with Brown and Caldwell Professional Services Agreement for the South Plant Betos Zone Recharge Wells to design an additional 3 wells in the amount of $82,346.
Thank you. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this?
No, Mayor.
Council, may I have a motion?
I move to approve change order 1 for City of Surprise 11-004 and associated owners contingency.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote.
Still need Councilmember Woodard. Thank you very much.
Well,
6
we're
yes
moving-
vote, 1 no vote. Excuse me.
Sorry?
6 yes vote, 1 no vote. Alton.
Okay. Moving to the next item. Seems like Public Works is very, very busy.
This is consideration and action on Resolution 2011-120, an IGA with Arizona Department of Transportation with regards to the improvement of State Route 303L from Peoria Avenue to half a mile north of Peoria.
Mayor's members of the council, this is an IGA between the City of Surprise and ADOT for the cost of $5,980. It's to install intelligent transportation conduit, install traffic signals at the Peoria traffic signal cabinet at Peoria, and finally match the same exit paint that was approved at the further north. This is only the section a half mile north of Peoria. It's to match the rest. This item was brought forth at the previous work session, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, Mayor.
Then, Council, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve resolution number 2011-120.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote.
Unanimous yes vote, Mayor.
Next item, please.
Consideration and action on Resolution 2011-138, a resolution to allow Electric District 7 to expand their boundaries to include the land where the Greenway lift station is located.
Electric District Number 7 is a electrical distribution district within the West Valley that's set up for agricultural, and it's also been extended to wastewater and water treatment facilities. And what it does is, and we've connected a number of our high energy users off of APS to contract with ED7, number 7. What this request is tonight before you is to petition the expansion of, the slight expansion of Electric District's legal district to include a parcel at Greenway, on Greenway, where we have a wastewater lift station. With this resolution, they will expand their boundaries, and then we'll come back at a later date to request council approval to enter into a contract, to change our contract from APS to Electric District 7 to supply energy to this facility at this location. As you may recall, this savings has generated hundreds of thousands of dollars for the enterprise fund over the number of facilities, and this would expand that savings to the city.
Thank you. Anybody from the public wanting to speak?
No, Mayor.
Okay, we'll move on to asking for an action.
I got a question.
Yeah, but we do motion second question.
I move to approve Resolution 2011-138.
Second that?
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion, Mr. Hall.
Yeah, Bob, just a quick question. Electric District 7 is like a farming district, right? Is that what we're saying? And they get their rates lower like Maricopa Water District?
They actually, they distribute energy. They distribute electrical power. They contract through renewable water sources, the Bureau of Reclamation, to contract for the power, and then they transmit the power to the various agricultural areas.
Okay.
So they're a distributor.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please cast your vote.
Unanimous vote, Mayor.
Okay, item number 28.
Consideration and action on ordinance number 2011-11, adopting the 2010-2011 amendments to the tax code of the City of Surprise.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to discuss items 28 and 29, and both are related to the amendments to the Model City Tax Code as they were discussed at our previous work session. And if there are any further questions.
Thank you very much. We go to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on 28?
No, Mayor.
Okay, then may I have an action on item number 28?
Move to approve ordinance 2011-11.
Any further discussion? Please cast your vote.
Unanimous vote, Mayor.
Thank you. I now open this item to the public for item number 29. Seeing no one, I close the call to the public. Ask for an action on item number 29.
Move to approve resolution 2011-139.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Unanimous vote, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move to item number 30, consideration and action on items to be placed on future agendas. Mr. Alton, I heard earlier you were looking for an item.
Yes, a workshop item for looking at the entire water distribution system as well as wastewater, and kind of where we are today, where we want to be in the future, what any time frames there happen to be, and just talk about the facilities and so forth. So,
great. Any further counsel?
Chris, I asked a long time ago for a local vendor preference, and I think the way it was left was that our CFO, Scott McCarty, was going to do a presentation on procurement and the whole thing, and I think we need to do that, and I would like to see us include in that an education to our local businesses how they can procure city business. Okay?
Sounds good. Anything else? Mr. City Attorney, I don't believe we have need to go to executive session. Therefore, that concludes the business for this evening, and this meeting is adjourned.
At City Hall, 16,000 North Civic Center Plaza. And you can catch council meetings live right here